What is up, guys? It's your boy Let's back at it again with a new One Punch Man the Strongest guide featuring Melzargard, the defender of Boros ship. So, before I start with all this rundown, I'd like to just gently announce it's been confirmed that Flashy Flash is the next LSSR for Southeast Asia. His Puzzle Pandemonium event has come out and it follows the same format as Garo's. And then through various sources in CN, I've come to find out that Suryu is most probably the next LSSR in CN. So we'll find out about that in a couple of days, but for now, let's focus up on the task at hand. A brief introduction to Melzargard. So his role, he has a high hit point pool, he has healing abilities and damage reduction properties. This means that he is able to keep himself and allies alive longer. He also synergizes well with Boros naturally because he's an Esper and as well as he fits the role of a tank, which is quite essential when playing Boros because his team demands 3 Esper, so a tanky Esper would fit in to the team comp quite well. And he's also solid for PvP. He's technically a monster alloy sans the ultimate reduction. So the cons, he needs high investment to be good. To fit his basic role, he just needs 2 stars, but to actually be good enough to be competitive, he definitely needs that 5 stars. He's also very rare. He's one of the rarest characters in the game that's not an LSSR. He's only available in the epic pool, and even then also is very rare for people to get in. And then even if you have him, it's very hard for you to get dupes, which is needed to 5-star him unless you're planning to extreme train him. And he also requires moderate speed tuning depending on the role he plays on your team. So we'll go with the abilities breakdown. I've actually inserted some short videos here just to give you guys more visual aid. So this is his passive called Undying Body. So as you can see in the video, he actually takes a portion of the allies' damage. So I'll show it again. So it's signified with that green character on the top there. So he takes an actual 20% of the damage taken by his allies, and he also reduces the damage taken by himself by 50%, really maximizing into the tank role, and it activates until he reaches 20% hit points. So his extreme passive unlocked at 5 purple stars. He shares 30% of the damage taken by allies, so it's an increase by 10%. And he also reduced the damage taken by himself by 15% until 20% HP. So, would I recommend for you to pursue this? No, honestly not, because the buff up of 10 and 15% does not justify the amount of awakening cores and awakening chips, as well as the shards needed for you to reach that level. So I suggest just keep him for the normal passive is fine. And then now we're going to look at his basic attack, Shape Shifting. So he deals 120% damage to one enemy, and then reduce his damage taken by 20% for 1 round. So this is what it looks like. Bonk. So he basically turns his arm into a hammer, and this green sign saying defense up. So basically it's more or less damage reduction, if I'm reading that right. I'm sorry, my command of Haji is very bad, but more or less that's what I'm getting from it. So yeah, we'll move on straight to his ultimate now. So his ultimate, he attacks in a cross straight, similar to Mosquito Girl's attack. So it's basically a straight row plus 1 additional enemy in the middle. He deals 130% attack plus a flat amount of attack damage. He heals himself for 20% of his max hit points, and he heals allies for 8% of Melzargard's max HP. So stacking a lot of HP onto Melzargard will really make this ultimate shine, especially as a support healing buffer type character. And then his ultra ultimate, he attacks in a cross shape, dealing 165%, so it's a 35% increase, plus the flat amount of attack, heals self for 25% max HP, which is a 5% increase of healing, And then he also heals allies for 10%, which is a 12% spike. So I don't think these values actually justify the amount of work needed to get his keepsake, especially if it's a claw machine keepsake. So definitely not really worth the trouble. So you can actually see here. So he basically strikes down, hitting the row of allies as well as one extra ally in the middle. So for this meta-analysis section, I'm actually going to show you a video right now. So hey everyone, I'm going to actually try something new this time. I'm actually going to try to insert more videos into my overall video. So you're going to see more audio-visual files instead of just plain text. So here we go. Let's look at Minos' Melzargard. So this was from yesterday's monster tournament. So he actually plays his Melzargard as more of a buffer defense type Melzargard rather than a pure passive type. So he actually uses speed on his Melzargard to get the healing plus a little bit of extra damage reduction. As you can see, the passive doesn't work on Dot, so his team is actually taking full damage from the acid passive. So that's one of the things that makes Melzargard a little bit bad. I wouldn't say bad, it's more like not prioritized. It's because he actually doesn't counter Dot teams, but his healing is pretty good. So that's why he's quite favoured as a defensive unit. It's just that he's a little bit hard to invest. So you see, he's actually tanking quite a bit of damage, and sadly he couldn't protect the Janus enough. But it is enough to secure a win. He's keeping his team quite healthy. The 8% heal from his ultimate. He actually keeps DSK alive. I'm very sure DSK would have died to the max damage ulti if it wasn't for his Melzargard. And then we'll see Minos actually lose to Latte here, and we'll see what happened with his Melzargard in this round. So it starts off fairly good. So he actually managed to drop up quite a bit of damage, but Latte's Beast King seems to be very strong. Okay, Sky King is down, and Latte has the strongest CK in our server, so definitely going to be a tough challenge for Minos and his Melzargard. So I think it would have been better if Melzargard was positioned in front and Mosquito Girl was given the free reign at the back, but so far it looks to be quite even. Latte's CK is definitely tanking a lot, and the heal from... Oh, that reflect is insane. CK actually survives for the time being. This game might die here. So you can actually see that his Melzargard actually is one of the cause of his defeat. Just because that it's a wasted ultimate. If it was MG that ulted, I think he would have taken down CK way earlier. And now Latte will be able to clean house. Oh, almost. Melzargard is down. And it's STK versus his whole team, and then the top 9 was. So, although Melzargard didn't really do much this game, it kind of was the bane of the composition, because I feel like if Melzargard was a tad slower and gave MG free reign, he would have been able to take down the middle backline Mosquito Girl, and then he would have actually won the tournament. And we're back, everybody. So now we're going to talk about the limit break cost. So for 5 stars, for every SSR is the same amount of limit break cost. So he's going to need 239 shards from 3 to 5 star. And then he's going to need an extra 210. Pardon me. Bringing up the total to 449 for 6 stars. and he's going to need an extra 350 on top of that, bringing a total to 799 for 7 stars. And then for limit break badges, he's going to need 343 from 1 to 5 star. He's going to need an extra 420 from 5 to 6, bringing a total to 763. And he's going to need an additional 560 to bring from 6 to 7 stars, totaling up at a whopping 1,323 limit break badges. So this incredible value is the reason why free-to-plays are recommended to stop at 4 to 5 stars. The cost is just not justified for the amount of work. And then the value for you to get the stats for Melzargard, not really worth it in my honest opinion. Now for Awakening. So we've talked a little bit about Awakening in the previous Boros episode. So Melzargard sort of fits a different role. He's mostly there for his passive. Not really many people actually train Melzargard, for the reason why is that he's a little bit, I wouldn't say he's a bad character, it's just that on the competitive scale, he's more of a middle tier character. So nobody wants a middle tier character, everybody wants the high end tier character. So that's why you shouldn't be focusing on Awakening Melzargard, in my opinion. But then again, you know, if you really want to pursue it, by all means go ahead. The chart is here for you to refer to. And then you are not recommended to awaken 5 star because you should go for other characters such as RMG. Definitely RMG you need to 5 star, 5 purple star. And you can choose one hero and one monster. So I recommend for now RMG. And if you want a 5 star now, you can actually get Garo. If not, then probably better for you to get ATT, Awaken Terrible Tornado. That's just my humble opinion. Now, the major issues and drawbacks I feel with Melzargard. As I said before, he is not investment free. At his basic, he is. But if you really want him to properly shine, you're definitely going to need that 5 star Melzargard. He's also a very situational character. He fits more in the defensive oriented team comp. Because if you have too many glass cannons, Melzargard will be absorbing way too much damage. Just because the character that he's protecting will be taking too much damage as well. So in turn, it renders Melzargard kind of null and void. He also eats up an extreme training slot. Pardon me. Just because if you want to get the shots and the F shots needed for Awakening, you definitely need to extreme training him. So why do you want to extreme train Melzargard when you have other options like CK, DSK, to an extent Garo if you're in Southeast Asia, if you're in Japan you have Boros, you have King. You have so many other options for extreme training, so why do you want to do it on that? Why you want to waste it on Melzargard? He also requires heavy speed tuning depending on the role that you want him to play. Like if you want him for a passive, just there for the passive, then yeah, definitely you don't need to really care about speed, and putting speed 6 is fine. If you want him to actively ultimate and protect your team, you're definitely going to need to make him at least speed 1 or speed 2, and you need to make sure that he outspeeds the enemy team. So there's a lot of work around needed for him to actually be viable in a team comp. And he also falls off quite a bit later in the game. As I said, he's a tank, and then the metas actually change. So by the time you reach Garo meta, his ultimate actually reduces max HP. So it actually severely guts Melzargard quite a lot. And then his keepsake might never come out. Why do I say this? His keepsake has not come out in CN yet. And if I'm not mistaken, it's already out in C and Taiwan. I'm not really too sure. I know it's out in Taiwan. That I can confirm. I'm not sure about C. I don't think so he's out in C yet. So definitely you need to wait for a while. If he comes out now in JP, maybe it's a good idea to get it, especially since there's not many SSR keepsakes out right now. So if you're a Melzargard main in Japan, yeah, definitely go for his keepsake if they make it available really early. Then his passive doesn't really matter with his ALE. Now take this with a grain of salt. It's because all your characters are being hit by this one ability, so it kind of makes his passive a little bit null and void, because he cannot protect everyone, and even if he can, he'll take incredible amount of damage. So it's just not really worth it. I'd like to thank you guys so much for the support up until this point. For now, my plans are to do Flashy Flash as the next video. It will be coming out on the 31st. day before the banner. So do stay tuned for that. It's been a really wonderful time for me to do this research and find out a lot of information about you guys. I'm glad you guys appreciate it. So till we meet again, bye bye. Peace.